Hey, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Nick.
We are Working Class Nerds.
Cue the intro. That's right. We are Working Class Nerds, the podcast that gives you no information about your favorite information.
Today is Thursday, November 12th, 2020, and you can find this. We've got one of my favorite raid players on our podcast, and you can find this podcast everywhere you can get a podcast. Anywhere you want, close your eyes, click Google Podcasts, you can find us. I'm gonna perfect this, I promise you. Also, you can watch me be the worst streamer ever at twitch.tv/MarcusB814. You can also find the both of us on Twitter. I am at MarcusB814.
And I am at Nick Vern. That's NickVern. In this week's episode, we're talking about the release of the Xbox Series S, the PlayStation 5, which you cannot get unless you're Al, and some pretty big SWTOR news. Joining us today is Musselman. Musselman is a fellow Twitch streamer and one of our favorite ever raid teammates. So welcome to the show, Musselman, and what have you been up to?
Hello, everyone. My name is Musselman, and I've been streaming my raids over on twitch.tv/jmusselman. I started streaming my raids back in July 2018, and back then I had no mic, no webcam, and barely knew how to play the game. My stream has grown a lot since then, and now my stream focuses on showcasing the content to players that are not as familiar with the content and raid encounters as I talk through how to do the fights. Thank you, Nick and Marcus, for inviting me on the show.
Thanks for coming. So he is correct. So when you do watch his stream, he will explain things to the stream, because if you don't play the game or you don't know the operations or the raids or whatever, it just looks like a bunch of flashing lights that are happening over and over and maybe some circles on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody's explaining that to you, it can help you understand what's going on, and it may get you to enjoy watching the stream a lot more, which I personally like, because if they're doing something that one of my other raid teams are doing, I like to see the variety in the style that they do it, and you get the different perspectives, because like I'm the tank. So I honestly don't care about what the healers have to do and the DPS. But in the Revan fight, when we first started progging the Revan fight, they kept talking about the healer's job, and I had no idea what they were talking about, because that's not my job. But after I watched Muscle stream, because he was filling in for somebody doing the Revan fight, I understood what the healers were doing because Muscleman was explaining it.
For sure. Yeah, I love talking about the mechanics, and I love explaining that, because one of the biggest feedbacks I got early on in my stream is I don't understand what's happening, what's going on. And it is fun to see someone succeed at the raid, but it's even more fun to understood why they succeeded and what it is that they were trying to accomplish.
And succeeding when you're streaming the hardest content, people don't understand. If somebody sees us win a fight and you've been working on that fight for a long time, they don't understand why you're so excited.
Oh yeah, it's big.
Yes, it's huge. When we beat Revan, it was like lights out. Like I didn't know what to do. Anyways, well, thanks for coming on the show, dude.
Yep.
Nick, what have you been doing?
So, I had 3 days off, which was fantastic.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm going to go, well, yeah, that never happened. So I usually been picking up extra shifts and stuff. But yeah, I had Tuesday, Wednesday, and today off, which so I feel like a different person now than I did Monday night. So I'll start with my third bullet point. So I apparently can't read a calendar.
No, you cannot.
I was gone at a paintball. Oh, I forgot to talk about that. I was gone at a paintball event all this weekend. Like about 2 hours away. Nothing too competitive. It was just a fun 10-man event. But so then went to work Monday, so then I was off Tuesday. And long story short, I was very busy between work and this paintball thing. So I hadn't really been paying close attention to the actual dates for things. And I was like, oh yeah, Call of Duty comes out this week. They usually come out on Tuesdays. Like, games, movies, not movies always, but games usually come out on a Tuesday for whatever reason. Or at least I had it in my head that was true. And I was like, oh, great. Call of Duty comes out Tuesday. I'm off Tuesday. I'm going to pre-download it. Monday night after I get out of work, it'll be great. Then I can just wake up and jam for 3 days. I'll have awesome podcast content. And then I downloaded it and it was like, yeah, it releases the 13th. I was like, what? What do you mean the 13th? So obviously it comes out tonight, like at midnight, East Coast time, the real time. And I'm an idiot. So I thought I had 3 days to jam and I do not. So I played other stuff,
And you definitely didn't. And the worst part about all this is he got me so hyped. He texted me at like 7 a.m, bro, Call of Duty. And I was like, it comes out today. All right, let's play this game. Yeah, I'm ready. And then progressively through the next hour, I was more disappointed by every text because it was like, bro, you ready for tonight? You ready for tonight? Yeah, I'm ready for tonight. No, I don't think you're ready for tonight. You're ready for tonight? Yep. I think I made a mistake.
I was like,
why? What? We're going to have to, no Warzone? No, if the game doesn't come out until Friday.
It's terrible. No, the worst part is like I went from, I'm going to have 3 days off in a row. I'm going to jam this. I'm going to finish the campaign in one day, maybe like one sitting. And then just like crush multiplayer for, 2 days or whatever. So we're recording today and we'll finish before midnight, obviously. But I have to work tomorrow. So I have to work 7 a to 7 p. And I have to work Saturday and Sunday. So I'm going to go from like crushing it to like squeaking in a couple hours and being all tired at work and stuff.
You're not going to be able to play at all.
I know.
By the time you get home at 8 o'clock at night, you're going to take a shower and it'll be 10 and you'll be like, fuck, I got to go to work tomorrow.
Right. Exactly. But I have it pre-downloaded. So if I might play like the first level or two of the campaign.
Or wake up an hour early and play a little bit of the multiplayer before you go to work.
Or I can do both.
I used to love that, waking up. Like, I would wake up because I'd be so excited, even though I had to go to work, and I'd get up at 5:30 and just play for an hour. This is pre-kids.
Yeah, of course.
And I would play for an hour and, like, be so hyped to get home and play. And then by the time you get home and play, you're so tired from work, you just pass out.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I think I might do that, actually, just wake up extra early. Because, like, playing, I don't know. That is nice to, like, activate your brain a little bit right in the morning, Just get all adrenaline pumping first thing in the morning. Then you're, like, awake. You barely even need coffee. So let's see.
Do you pump it up? Pump up the jam?
Oh, I'll definitely pump up the jams. Although the first time playing multiplayer, I'll just have the natural sound. But it is nice to, like, especially with, like, this Black Ops style. I remember back in the day, I used to, like, just blast music and play. And just be jamming in the zone, just looking for pixels,
The auto zone.
The auto zone. So I applied for a new job, which is pretty exciting. It's all, I don't know too many details yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a standard issue 9 to 5, 8 to 4, whatever type of jobs. It's I didn't get it yet, but I had a conversation with the HR recruiter today that seemed pretty optimistic. So, the job is a research assistant in the clinical research section of the hospital. So I'm Musselman for reference. I'm a tech in the emergency department now.
That sounds exciting.
It's very exciting, a little too exciting. So this will be way less stressful. It'll probably be like Monday through Friday, 8 to, normal business hours, versus like 12s and every third weekend that I work now. So it's a little, and obviously not in the ER. I'm just, organizing a study or like uploading data from the study or poking people for, to get samples. So it's definitely a little more low key, which is what I'm looking for. And I get paid more. So I'm cautiously optimistic that I get that, because if I do that, if I get this, then I'll have more time at night, which means more time for video games. And I won't be nearly as tired from not working 12s. But anyways, what I have been doing because obviously I didn't just fill those three days off with nothing. I've been playing Among Us every time I go to the bathroom. Even if I'm just peeing, I'll just stand there and play a match. I think that game's kind of fun. I know it's like cheesy and everyone plays it, but it is cool to just sort of get into a quick game, play, like try to trick somebody that you're not the imposter or whatever, and then get out of there. I've actually, this past 3 days, I've enjoyed playing things that I could just kind of hop in and out of. Primarily FIFA 20, actually. So once I realized I couldn't play Cold War, I was gonna play Modern Warfare. But in order to pre-download Cold War, I had to make room on my hard drive on my PC, so I deleted or uninstalled Modern Warfare. So because it's like 200 gigs or something, preposterous. And then I went to play it on PS4, but because I have 2 copies, but that had like a 40 gigabyte update that I didn't feel like waiting for. So I just said screw it and started playing FIFA 20's career mode that I had started before. And I really enjoyed that. It's nice. You can just hop in, do a couple training things, play a match that's like 15 minutes basically. It's like 6 minutes a half plus your halftime to look at the stats or whatever. So that was my like quick fix game in between playing the Outer Worlds. So I progressed, like I probably played 5 or 6 hours of the Outer Worlds. I have not finished it yet. That's a long game, but I definitely am enjoying that. It's lots of Fallout vibes that I'm enjoying. And yeah, I'm happy to actually have some gaming to report this week, and I'll have way more next episode after Call of Duty comes out.
Very nice.
I understand the FIFA 20 thing because that's how I am for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
When last week or the week before, I'm not sure. I just wanted to play a game, but with moving and everything going on, I didn't really have a chance. So then I just logged in. I waited for the whatever update it had to do, and I played one multiplayer match, and I went 37-19, and I I completely demolished everything in my path.
Nice.
and after that, it was like I mic dropped. I was like, all right.
I'm not going to stop that.
Every match for the rest of the night is not going to be better than this. I shut it off and I went to bed happy. So I do understand that.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to just say this, and I know if anybody here has moved, moving sucks so bad.
I agree.
Okay. And Nick will confirm this.
Mm-hmm.
When I say I'm moving, I'm not just going from my current house to another house. That's not how I roll. I go.
Marcus always has to make it complicated.
Yes. So I go to a house and I knock down walls, remodel a bathroom. All the floors and the walls need to be painted. I mean, the floors need to be sanded and finished. Like this isn't just, oh, we're buying a nice little house down the road and we're going to move. And then, one day the movers come and the next day you're living there. Not me.
No, Marcus, I don't think you understand quite the gravity of what Marcus did. So Marcus ripped down a load-bearing wall.
Ooh.
And no, properly. So like the house didn't fall over.
It's a lot of work though, yeah.
Yeah, so which is like, how long was that thing? Like 15 or 16, 20 feet, something like that?
Yeah,
it was
so
like
we went
the entire span of a living room that's now like opens up the gap between the living room and kitchen.
Uh-huh.
And then completely 100% gutted a bathroom. Like, not like, oh, we're repainting it and changing the faucets and stuff. Like, no floors, no drywall, no insulation, no nothing. All new everything. Like, just the studs in the bathroom. No floor. Like, change the plywood on the floor. You can see the basement remodeled.
Well, to Marcus's credit, some of the before and after pictures, and they do look really good, especially like when you painted your house. The different colors, the before and after, it did look really, really good.
So, and that's why everybody, everybody's like, I can't believe you're not living there. Well,
you don't understand what he's doing.
It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. Every room had wallpaper on it. All the wallpaper's gone. All the walls are painted, primed, finished. All the ceilings are done where I knocked down the wall. So in the bathroom and the kitchen, I have all brand new ceilings. There's going to be all new lighting, speakers in the ceiling. I built a new island for the kitchen. The kitchen's getting painted because in a year, once I live there and I know the layout of the kitchen that I want, I'll make a new kitchen. But for right now, it'll do. And so I've been out of control. And the floor's final coat is tomorrow, which means I can move in on Sunday because you want to let the floor sit for at least a day before you start walking on them so they cure. And so my dogs and my kids don't destroy them right away. So Sunday, all of the stuff that the movers moved into the garage has to go inside the house.
Right.
Nick, how happy are you that you're working on Sunday?
I'm so happy. I've been busy for both of these move weekends. I cannot even tell you. I was in that 2 hour away paintball thing one weekend. What was I doing the other weekend? Oh, I had like a bunch of stuff myself to do the weekend prior because I was going to be gone. So I missed like a light. That was just a boxing moving day. That wasn't too crazy.
That was boxing and wallpaper removal.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. And then I feel like the bad ones are going to be this last weekend where you moved a bunch of stuff in and I was gone, and then this upcoming weekend.
Okay, and so I'm a very proud person. So this is the first time ever in my life we hired a mover.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "You're hiring a mover?" And I'm like, "Look it. They're going to move all the heavy shit, all the dressers, all the washer and dryer, all the big stuff they're taking.
Couches,
I'm not
whatever.
touching couches, beds, all that shit. I'm not doing it." It was hands down the greatest thing I've ever done. I moved all the boxes myself. I did all of that stuff. But let me tell you something. The fact that I did not have to pick up my washing machine was the greatest thing that has ever happened to me.
Your 1960s washing machine?
No, I have brand new washing machines, but they're heavy as
it?
shit. No, there's no lead in it. It's just heavy as shit. And you put all my clothes in it.
The uranium lined washing machine is what cleans the clothes. The radiation does. It just melts all the ketchup stains off.
Perfect.
Well, see, okay, so here's a little insight into me. So I would say my wardrobe consists of work clothes because I work so much. So at work, if I spill ketchup on my hand, so what do? Am I getting a paper towel or a rag? Probably not. It's probably going on the shirt.
100%.
So, yeah, 100%.
That's why you got the dark blue ones.
Yeah, that's right. And so the other day I was in like normal clothes and I got something on my hand and I just wiped it on my shirt and I was like, what am I, fucking 6? Like, get a paper towel. Like, I don't even know what's going on right now. I've been so blind. Okay.
Just in work mode all the time. Just didn't even think about it. You should write on the collared shirt.
So I have been playing a game, and it has actually been a great filler for me in this time of no SWTOR and pretty much everything else. I've been playing that Genshin Impact game a lot.
Oh, I love that game.
It's so good because it takes all the good parts of Breath of the Wild and leaves out the dumbest part of Breath of the Wild, which is the stupid weapon mechanic where your weapons break. This one, you can hit stuff as much as you want and you don't have to worry about it. I personally like that. Mm-hmm. But what I like about it is I can turn it on my computer, and this has been my quick fix. Turn it on. I'll do a mission or two or a couple quests, or I'll just go explore a little bit, kill some enemies, and then I'm like, all right, I'm good. But can we all have a moment of silence for the original Xbox Elite controller?
Oh, no.
The right trigger finally like broke. Like I have to pull it really hard for it to like sense. I've had the original Xbox Elite controller forever now.
I think you bought it like basically when it came out.
Yeah, I did because I wanted a new controller. And so anyway, so my new controller came in and I bought where is it? I don't know. The Razer something or another.
Yeah.
Razer Wolverine. I don't know. Anyways, I haven't used it yet. I'm excited for it. Also, too, when I come back, like I haven't streamed, and it sucks because I felt like my stream was finally making a nice pass because like I was breaking double digits almost every stream, which is great, and I loved it. And the best thing that I've done is I shut off the viewers, so I can't see how many people are watching it. And for me, I really enjoy that because it almost takes the pressure off you. Like,
oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't really care how many people are watching me numbers wise. If you're here talking to me or watching me, I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I miss it. I really, really, really miss streaming because I miss all like everybody that pops over and wishes me good luck in a raid when they're raiding with me at the same time. Or, just the people that come by and say hi, or even if you lurk and watch, like it's so, I don't know. I enjoy it a lot and I thank everybody for it. But when I do come back, my game came out, Dirt 5. I've mentioned it before and on the podcast that I love this racing game. I'm really excited to get into it because it's just I don't know. It's like my little fun game that I like to play. And yeah. And lastly, thank you, Amazon. I was so proud that I pre-ordered my Xbox Series S and and I just got notification that I'm not getting it until the middle of December when it was released Tuesday.
Oh my God.
Mm.
That's
Yep.
terrible.
And if you go, like, I stopped at one of the game stores to see if like you could get a system. They're not even shipping the systems to stores right now. You can't
Jesus.
walk into a Best Buy and buy it unless you pre-ordered it. You know why?
Why?
Because they are afraid people are going to line up and get COVID from it.
Oh.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that, of like hordes of people going to the store.
Well, because I remember like when the Xbox One came out, there were lines outside Best Buy every day.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they would unlock the door and people would say, "Hey, do you have any Xboxes?" And they'd say, "Oh, we have 5." Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in line. Go in and get it.
Right.
Everybody else go home, and people would wait in line. But with COVID, they're trying to avoid the craziness.
That's so crazy. I hadn't even considered that.
There's no Black Friday this year.
Right.
I've gone 18 years in a row. No Black Friday.
Are you going to be okay?
No. It's like my favorite holiday every year. I get to watch crazy people go insane. You can say I'm a crazy person because I do it, but I go with my little brother and I love it, and we've been doing it forever, and it's completely awesome. And yeah, it used to be really crazy. Now it's really like tame and people are polite. But when we first started doing it, literally, if you didn't have a strong back, you got trampled. Like those were the good old days. Like there was 5 TVs in the middle of the room and it was a free for all, and like people would be pulling it, punching each other. Like we saw straight up fights for the TVs back in the day.
Damn.
But it's not like that. Yeah, everybody's a wuss now. Everybody's like, "Excuse me, sir. Would you mind if I take one of the 3 TVs that you have?" "Oh, thank you for asking, sir, but no. This is for my wife, my uncle, and my cousin." "Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day." And you're like, I'd be ripping that shit out of the cart if it was back in the day. 18 years ago, it was a free-for-all. It was like the WWF Royal Rumble for TVs because that's when flat screens were legit.
Right.
If you got a flat screen 18 years ago or 15 years ago, however many years ago, you were like king shit. Yo, I got a 50. Oh,
wow.
I only got a 32. 32.
Check this out.
Check this out. Yeah, exactly.
And there were actual deals too.
Yeah. And then we have to give a big shout out to Al, friend of the show. He's the only person that I know that actually got a PlayStation 5. I don't know how he got it, but he got it, and he sent us a picture today.
He won almost like a raffle, like because he plays so much PlayStation or something. Either because he plays so much or because like he bought a lot of PlayStation products or something. Like he opted into some email thing, and Sony picked him to be like one of the people that just gets a pre-order if they wanted it. And he was like, "Hell yeah, I want it." They had like a certain number that they just gave to like essentially PlayStation super users or something like that.
Oh,
so
well, he does play, and he does actually play a lot.
Yeah,
and mind you, everybody, he just got like a $30,000 computer. Not literally 30 grand, but he just got the dopest dope computer. I don't think Alienware sells a better computer than the one he bought.
No, he bought the nicest one he could possibly buy from Alienware.
Exactly.
Which is insane. What did he get for a video card? Did he wait for a 30 series or no?
Yeah, he got the 3090.
Oh my God.
You can't even get that card. Like I've been trying and I can't. Like it's so upsetting.
Yeah, he has a 3090 and like the most ridiculous other parts in there. I think it was like $4,000 or something preposterous.
Yeah, I don't even know. But either way, it's new consoles are out, which is great for PC gamers because the gaming, the quality of games, like the graphic quality of games is going to change so much over the next 5 years.
Yep.
It's going to be like, we're going to be like looking at each other and video games are going to look better than our own eyes pretty soon.
It's fantastic. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. So in SWTOR news, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, buddy. So rest in peace, the New York City community cantina that Nick and I were at last year.
Oh, right. That would have been in the fall.
Yes, last month.
Damn.
Yeah, sad face. So anyway, so to compensate, they are they're hosting their community cantina tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. It's on twitch.tv/SWTOR. So far, the Jedi Knight, the female Jedi Knight voice actor is going to be on it. I think Darren DePaul is going to be on it, and there's one more. I don't know who the other voice is, but they showed Valkorian, which means that's Darren DePaul.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be pretty cool. They'll probably interview them. They're saying that that's the pre-live stream, so probably they're going to do a little interview with all them and then go into the actual live stream.
Mm-hmm.
And then the PTS was released today, and players can experience the Spirit of Vengeance Flashpoint login rewards in an emote window. Nick, you want to read that?
Yes. I'm looking where I want to read.
Start at the Spirit of Vengeance above.
The Spirit of Vengeance. Jump into the PTS to test the Spirit of Vengeance Flashpoint. In this Flashpoint, renegade Mandalorians commanded by Heta Cole ambushed one of Shae Vizsla's capital ships, the Spirit of Vengeance 2, to rip it apart and steal priceless Mandalorian relics. Players will fight these renegades to free Shae Vizsla's ship and save its crew and relics. To start this flashpoint, we head on over to Odessen. When on Odessen, use the elevator in the west hallway to the Alliance operations room. Upstairs, you will see a marker on the map to pick up this flashpoint. Below, you can find the type of feedback that the team is looking for. And then it shows you, like, I don't know what that sentence is referring to, actually.
Yeah, it's all right. So something that players have been asking for a long time are login rewards. So this is crazy, and I know nothing about it. So, Nick, what do you know about this?
So, login rewards. Players can test the new login reward system. Players will receive rewards legacy-wide every day they log into the game. Subscribers will receive bonus rewards for logging into the game multiple days in a week, which is interesting.
So, yeah, so what do you think of that, Muscle?
So, I have some opinions on it. As far as the login rewards go, I really like the way that Shintar Commando put it on Twitter with her reaction for trialing it. And she said, I mean, I pretty much log into the day anyway, but I don't need another MMO being needy like that. And I thought that kind of reflected what I thought. Also, Zamzam, she said that the quality of the rewards leaves something to be desired. Not surprising, pretty much the MMO standard. And she posted some pictures, and I was scrolling through them, and there really wasn't anything in there that I was interested in getting. There was some Jawa scrap, some stims that aren't even best in slot stims, so I'd never use them. After 4 weeks, you do get some cartel coins, which is pretty cool, but you'd have to wait 4 weeks to get that one item that I cared about when everything else was something that I didn't feel was really that relevant.
So, and I actually disagree with you. I think this daily reward isn't meant. I mean, it's meant for everybody, but I look at myself as a more than casual player of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't call myself a casual SWTOR player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those rewards, they're to entice the new players and the casual players to log in more. You know what I mean? So for me, I like the fact that they're rewarding us. Who does this daily? Oh, that's Skyforge MMO that I started playing. That I played 3 times and didn't play again, but they gave me a daily reward. I think Elder Scrolls Online does it, and they do a good job at it. I just think it's an extra thing that people
even Genshin Impact does it, and I like the way that Genshin Impact does it for sure. I just wish that the rewards were something that you could actually use. A lot of the stuff is either stuff that you either already get or don't have a use for.
And the other thing I was thinking about is, and it's on the PTS, so it could change. And no, I'm not.
And they did say that too. They said the rewards could change.
Right, and I'm not saying that I'm not here to kiss BioWare's ass on it, but it's a starting point. And what I like is it's probably hard because the best stims in the game, the best in slot stims, aren't available to use if you're level 10.
Sure. Yep.
You know what I mean? So maybe they are trying to accommodate the newer players too. And for us, it's like, okay, well, if we need a stim, we're just going to buy it or somebody's going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, the hardcore players, the fact that if we log in for 4 weeks, we're going to get cartel coins. Now, I don't know how many cartel coins it is because I haven't had a chance to log in yet, but I will be this weekend. But if you do it for 4 weeks and you get $5 worth of cartel coins, you're going to log in anyways. I look at that as just a bonus.
That's true.
Like you're gonna get 4. It's like when you get a Christmas bonus or a holiday bonus at work. Whether your boss is a cheap ass and gives you $25 or he's awesome and he gives you $1,000, that was $25 or $1,000 more than you had before he handed it to you.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? They don't have to give us these rewards, but I think that the fact that they're trying to do it and to make us, and give us a reason to log in, because out of most of the MMOs, this game comes out with the least content out of all of them. So they're giving us another reason to log in. And I've bitched and complained about this part enough. So the emote window, I have no idea about this. What is this, Nick?
It says, test the new emote window. This new window improves accessibility to emotes with new features such as grouping unlocked emotes in emote preview, an indicator as to whether an emote loops, and more. Find out next episode of Dragon Ball Z. No, just kidding. It does not say that part.
I like it, the new emote window, because right now you have that drop-down box, and you're like, well, I mean, I can see what the names of them are, and it's kind of a fumble to go through it and find the emote that you want. The new window looks really good. I like the interface.
Oh, I'll have to log in tonight and look while Nick is editing the show. The other thing is tomorrow in the Cantina live stream, they're going to be talking about Game Update 6.2. This is the next story piece that we've been waiting. This is the next story piece that we've been waiting 16 months for.
Yep.
So if you're sensing sarcasm, SWTOR, that is 100%.
Yeah, and going back to the Flashpoint earlier, I was watching SWTOR stream it earlier today, and I don't want to talk about it too much because of spoilers, but it does look really good. I like it a lot.
Well, they've got big shoes to fill, because if you're gonna, if you're gonna build a Flashpoint, it better be better than the Meridian Complex, because our good friend of the show, Jackie Cow, he made a pretty legit Flashpoint. So they've got big shoes to fill now that he's not here.
I know.
Anyways, but back to this story content. So we're gonna find out what Kira and Scourge have been up to.
Did you almost say Squirt?
I almost did.
Like the turtle from Finding Nemo?
Yes, thank you, Nick.
Nugget.
Thank you for pointing out my flaws,
dude.
So anyway,
please proceed.
So Kira and Scourge said that they have found Satil Shan, and we've been waiting 14 months to find out about this. So I'm eager to get it. My big concern with this is the length. Like, we've been waiting a long time for this content. My big concern is that it's going to be like 20 minutes. And between us and everybody listening, I'm going to be really disappointed if this is shorter than like a chapter from the Knights of the Fallen Empire, Knights of the Eternal Throne storyline.
Yeah.
Because for me now, we've been waiting since last October of 2019 for our next piece of story. And to be honest with you, something that they should do, and Muscle, you can agree or disagree with me here, is about 8 months ago, they released like this little tiny story piece where Kira and Scourge talked to you somewhere. I don't even remember where. They should re-release that where you replay that moment. Oh, because because you can't repeat it now, and you can't. And I have no idea what happened in that meeting.
Well, you can replay it on alts, right?
Yeah, but I just want to do it on I don't want to have to do it on an alt. I would rather they should just reset it. Even if you've already done it and you've made your story choice, then your original story choice stays, but at least now you'll know what the hell is going on. And it'll almost be current. So then you can just almost like go into it.
Oh, because it was so long ago you forgot what happened. I see what you're saying.
It's 8 months ago.
I mean, I would encourage our viewers and listeners to maybe go play the story again on an alternate character and try to, refresh yourself on what happened since the last update.
Yeah. And then let's give a big congratulations, woot woot, to Peter the Cellcath.
Yes.
He was our next community content creator of SWTOR on the launcher. Our community highlight series is back, and this series of articles shines a light on the members of our content creator program and the people who create walkthroughs, videos, guides, and provide entertainment for the fans of Star Wars: The Old Republic. They sat down with YouTuber and Twitch streamer Peter the Cellcath to talk about the many years he's been creating SWTOR-related content and how he's gone from creating guide videos to live streaming operation runs with his members of his community. So on the launcher, checked out this interview. It's actually pretty cool because when you watch somebody stream or you watch somebody's videos, you don't really get to know them as a person, and reading the interview kind of lets you in under the hood a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah, because I've been watching Peter for a long time, so I know him pretty well. But if you're like a first-time viewer, you don't know who he is, the interview just gives a really, really good, just kind of like baseline understanding of who he is and what he does and that sort of thing.
That's awesome. In AIE news, Fridays continue to be the fun second fun night in the guild. We switched from Flashpoint Fridays to Achievement Hunting Fridays, and then once a month we do
Mega. That's a monthly Epic Guild activity.
This month has not been settled yet due to, I'm not even going to repeat it again. Everybody knows what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks.
The move.
But what I am thinking, because
the event that shall not be named.
Ooh, that's a good one, Nick.
You need an acronym now. That's kind of a mouthful. TE. Oh, whatever. Anyways, please continue.
But I'm thinking maybe doing a Black Friday mega, because I won't be Black Friday shopping. So maybe we'll just do a mega event that night. What do you guys think about that?
I like a Black Friday mega because then it gives people who might also be Black Friday shopping a little something to do, especially if you've got that like maybe literal hangover from Thanksgiving or figurative hangover from like food hangover from Thanksgiving. It's just nice to like have a little something to look forward to after. I always like having something to do the day after a holiday because I feel like you get kind of down.
Especially now, like there's not a whole lot to do on Black Friday, so I think that's a great idea.
What do you think we should do?
Can you do some kind of shopping themed something?
No.
Scavenger hunt? I don't know.
Ooh. I haven't done one of those in a while.
Like where in the world is so-and-so?
Where in the world is SEMA San Diego?
Exactly.
We did that a few months ago. But
I didn't want to rope in SEMA, but
well, she is the guinea pig that always gets hidden. The last Where in the Galaxy is SEMA San Diego, the grandfather world boss kidnapped her and hit her, and that's where we ended up on Bel Savis. And the event is awesome for everybody in it except SEMA because she just has to stay logged in for like 2 hours and standing there doing nothing. And because she can't really say that she dies because then everybody will know where she is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, let's do that.
Boom. Black Friday Mega Scavenger Hunt. Potentially where in the world is SEMA San Diego. So, if all this sounds fun to you, go to aie-guild.org, jump in the Discord, and ask for a guild invite. Whether or not you play Star Wars: The Old Republic or any of the other games we play, and I mean any of the other games, the one that Marcus talks about that has a Japanese name that I forgot entirely is Genshin something, I think.
Genshin.
Genshin, thank you. Whether or not you play Call of Duty Cold War, which I will definitely be playing a whole lot of.
That clan will be created tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow. Marcus, let me know how I can get involved there. But yeah, come play games with us. aie-guild.org.
Oh, and just for the record, everybody, AIE is on the Starforge server, which is the best server. So if you're new to the game, make sure you join the Starforge server.
Yes, indeed.
Nick, how are you feeling right now?
As per usual, I have to pee.
All right.
We'll
be right
back.
Jeez, Nick, hurry up. We're trying to finish this podcast.
And we're back. So today we were going to talk about the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, but nobody can get them. So we're going to skip right over it, except for Al. And Al's not here. So we can't really talk about items that nobody can get their hands on.
So let's get to know Musselman.
Exactly. Let's get to know
Hello.
Musselman. Marcus, how do you want to start this off?
All right, so Muscle, so tell everybody first off where they can watch your streams.
I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/jmusselman, JMUSSELMAN.
So everybody go to twitch.tv/jmusselman and give them a follow.
Heck yeah.
Second question is, how come you don't make guides?
Oh, I
Because
want
you
to.
explain,
I'm-
so
I'm-
you explain these fights so well, and I haven't seen you do it, and I know I'm putting you right on the spot. Like,
Oh, yeah.
why haven't you done it? But like, even when you're wiping all the time, you're wicked calm, and I've actually never heard you be toxic. So, like, I think like a guide from you could almost be like Zen-like as you explain the fights, because you can explain things perfectly.
Yeah. So low key, some inside information. I'm
Don't tell
already
anybody,
working on it.
Nick, don't tell anybody.
I'm
All right.
already working on it. I'm going to make an entire YouTube series talking about every single fight, all the content. It's going to take a long time. I need to make sure that I do it right. I want to make sure that it is something that will last a long time and something that people can really get value out of. But I will do that. I'm already looking into some different video editing techniques and those sorts of things. But yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Awesome. And if you ever want any of my tank point of views for fights, just let me know.
That'd be great, actually. Yeah.
Because I have all of them. I save all the videos from Twitch,
Yeah,
all
me
of my
too.
streams. So you can have basically any of them you want for the tank POV.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be terrible tanking, but at least it'll be a tank point of view.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm really excited for Elsha. She's coming out with a guide on Volk.com for the new raid in Duxon, Nature of Progress. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And I always refer people to Lady Rand's Entering Operations. She does an excellent job of explaining all the fights. But what I want to do with my YouTube series is I want to be really, really focused and really condensed so that I can toss someone a video 20 minutes before a raid starts. They could know absolutely nothing about the fight, watch the video, and in less than 20 minutes, they could say, okay, I at least sort of understand what's going on here, and I'm ready to give it a pull.
Well, that is one thing that I think his name is Hideshi or something. There was an old content creator who made operations guides for hard mode and nightmare.
Mhm.
And what I liked about it is those are the fights. So I'm currently progging Explosive Conflict, and what I liked about it is that he did the Tothenzorn fight, he did the tanks fight, they were individual videos.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like you were trying to fast forward through different fights. You actually got each video as a separate video,
Mhm.
like each fight as a separate video, so you could watch it. And something else that I liked is he would break down all the mechanics and then you would watch the fight.
Mhm.
So it was like a 15-minute long video, and it was like perfect. So if you just wanted to know what mechanics were going to happen during the fight, you just watch that part. Or if you want to
Nice.
watch the whole video and you actually get to see the kill, that helps too. But yeah.
Yeah, if you have a link, I'd like to see it because I'd like to learn from those sorts of things. I already have like a tab of bookmarks where I save a lot of different guides that I have seen, mostly the ones like on Dolphy, for example. But I'm not familiar with that one. I'd like to take a look.
Will do. I'll send it over.
So, I have a sort of a non-SWTOR directly
Sure.
related question. What other games do you play besides
that's a
Star
good
Wars: The
question.
Old Republic?
Yeah, so we talked about Genshin Impact earlier. That's been taking up a lot of my time lately. I really, really enjoy that game, and it's very mechanics-based with the elemental interactions. I like that a lot. Another really good mechanic-heavy game is Magic: The Gathering. I play that IRL in paper, but also online with MTG Arena.
How cool is that?
Yeah,
What's that?
It's Magic: The Gathering. It's a card game.
Oh, sorry, I didn't put together MGG.
Yeah, MTG. Yep.
Got it.
I play a lot of League of Legends, not as much lately, but it's another game. I like the very, very mechanic heavy game. So like League of Legends is another one where one small move when you're playing at the high level could be the difference between a win and a loss. And then
Interesting.
sort of in the same vein, kind of Final Fantasy XIV is a game that I sort of dabble in right now. I haven't really gotten into raiding there yet, but I want to start getting into the Savage raids. And then, outside of that, like pretty much any sort of Legend of Zelda game.
Well, so to Final Fantasy 14,
Mhm.
the hardest part for Final Fantasy 14 for me is the game is gated by story.
Yes.
So it
That's my
forces
biggest
you
complaint.
to it forces you to do all the bullshit quests, to be able to do a dungeon, to be able to do a flat an operation or a raid, whatever they call it in that
Yep.
game. But for me, like, I understand you want me to play your story, but don't make me do every single mission there is in order to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And then what happens as you're playing, they're giving you more XP, but you're out leveling your area. And then you're not getting any XP, but you're being forced to do the story
Yep.
to allow you to do stuff. That's what really turned me off from it, because
Yeah,
actually,
it's such a grind. And the
yes,
story, I feel like I got baited because I was told that it was one of the best stories for an MMO. And to be fair, it actually is a pretty good story. But the way that it's implemented, the way that it makes you go through it with all these fetch quests, just constant fetch quests back and forth, back and forth. Oh, I can't help you with this. You got to go talk to this other person. And that's pretty much like the entire game of the MSQ, the main scenario quest. And it's just such a grind to finally get through each expansion. There was one point in Heaven's Ward that I sort of like shifted my mindset. It took me about halfway through the first expansion for me to go from, man, this is such a grind, to, wow, that's actually really cool. And this is finally starting to feel like a Final Fantasy game. But it is such a grind.
that first the base game is awful. I mean, they send you on 3 quests and it's all around, like, they're right next door to each other, and then you have to go around the map to 3 different people to give them whatever they want, the fetch
Yep.
quests. And it just, and then, honestly, that's my biggest gripe with it
Mhm.
on my end. But for me, like, I really want to play, like, I've enjoyed World of Warcraft just questing. I've played them all. I've subbed to all of the games for 1 month,
Mhm.
but none of the games have kept me coming back. I've all given them a month of sub because they gate you on, if you're past level 20 in WoW, you have to sub.
Mhm.
And if you're after your 7-day trial, and then they give you like 30 days free if you get to a certain level. And once you do that, you can't even log into the game unless you have a current
Yep.
sub for Final Fantasy. So I just haven't. I guess I haven't committed to that yet.
Yeah, and Star
And
Wars: The Old Republic is a game that has really, it's the only game of its genre that's really been able to hook me. I've played World of Warcraft, I've played ESO, I've played Maple Story 2, we talked about Final Fantasy. I played a
Story.
lot of MMOs, but Star Wars: The Old Republic is really the only game that's been able to like hold my attention.
would you say that's because it's Star Wars?
It's a lot to do with that for sure. The ability to just get immersed in the world, whether it's holding a blaster or holding a lightsaber and going out in the world and tackling on these different adventures. It feels really, really immersive in a way that the other games, at least for me, don't capture. I know ESO is a game that other people would feel the same way for. It didn't capture me the same way that Star Wars did.
I agree. Because go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I was just gonna say no. Finish your point. I'll go after because it's tangentially related.
Well, so my ESO, I'm not a big like fantasy style person. I like sci-fi a lot better.
Mhm.
And ESO I really wanted to like, but the combat system I'm
Yep.
not a fan of.
Me neither.
And it was really I've tried to play it 3 or 4 times, and every time it's just always meh.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I actually really do enjoy the world of ESO, but because the combat is so, I don't know, it's just so, I don't know the word for it. It just feels off. But
Yeah,
it
that's
feels a little
such a
clunky.
main turn off. Clunky is a good word for it.
Like I feel like they try. I can actually chime in because I played a
Yeah.
little bit. I played a ton of Skyrim, right? And the combat
Yeah.
system's sort of trying to take Skyrim's, at least for me, it feels like it. They're trying to take Skyrim's combat system into an MMO, and in an area like you almost need that like tab target sort of combat for an MMO, and it doesn't really have that. It's sort of staying in first person or in third person doesn't feel right either. I don't know. It just felt something about it doesn't quite translate from a story driven RPG single player to
True.
an MMO. You
Yeah,
need to
I
like
love-
either commit to one or the other, but trying to do both feels like you're doing neither correctly.
Yep. I love Skyrim. I love Oblivion. I love Morrowind. Morrowind is just such a fantastic game. I've spent so many hours in that, but ESO has not been able to capture me the same way.
Yeah, I thought so too. The earlier point I was going to make was you talked about enjoying games with specific that are sort of mechanic heavy.
Mhm.
I don't know if you like shooters at all, but if you do, I think you might enjoy Rainbow Six Siege.
I've watched a lot of that, actually. Yeah, I've watched a lot of it on streams. I don't have it myself, and I'm not really into shooters as much anymore. I definitely was in, many years ago.
Right.
I think I got burned out on shooters after like Call of Duty 17. After Call of Duty 17, I just kind of I played a lot of the Call of Duties.
I'm with you. After sort of basically, I think after Modern Warfare 3, I sort of my Call of Duty ink started to dwindle, and especially when they got like the jetpacks and exosuits got involved. That's what Marcus and I both tuned out.
Yeah, but now we go back. Like Modern Warfare for me, going back this time around was nostalgia, and then when we did the Black Ops campaign, because they're doing the sequel to the game, like I'm hook, line, and sinker gonna love it all over again.
Oh yeah, me too.
But I don't think I'll ever be the way I was with it.
Yeah,
because
like
of
completely
SWTOR.
obsessed. Yeah.
Right. But it's definitely gonna take up some of my time.
But yeah,
yeah.
I highly recommend Siege though, if you like sort of more
Yeah.
strategy with your shooter, because it's obviously if you look it up at all, it's not like Call of Duty. It's all the operators have unique abilities that like counter each other, and it's all based on like 5 versus 5 attacking and defending essentially scenarios. But it's realistic bullet damage for the most part. So like if you shoot somebody in the head with the tiniest pistol, once they're dead, you can.
I'll have to check that out for sure. Yeah, that sounds really intriguing because I have watched it on stream. It just I just didn't give it as much attention, I guess.
There's lots of like meta gameplay, like choosing operators for specific rooms in the house that you're defending, and like you can reinforce walls and not reinforce spots on purpose so you can shoot through them. There's a whole like there's layers and layers of Siege that you can dive into if you'd like, and it's all based on mechanics, based on the abilities of the operators. So if you're into that and you want to dip your toe into shooters, check it out.
And last, going into the questions, what's your favorite Zelda game?
I love Breath of the Wild. I know that it didn't really hit you the same way, but that is my favorite Zelda game, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It does the same thing that Ocarina of Time did, and that was create a brand new game. Ocarina of Time was a brand new game. It introduced the concept of Z targeting. It was the first game to have a targeting system like that, and sort of laid out the framework for generations to come. Every single game kind of looks at Legend of Zelda and how they did their targeting system for how they do their game. And it's Ocarina of Time. It's a very linear story, but when I was younger, it sort of felt very open world. And so when I go back and play Ocarina of Time now, I don't sort of get that same sense of magic I did when I was younger, when I was first going out into Hyrule and seeing this open world. But I did get that sense of magic again in Breath of the Wild, and just the ability to go out and do whatever it is you want to do, write your own story. And they redefined what it means to be an open world game in many different ways. You don't have a leveling system, you have a gear system instead. And yeah, so many different things that they did with that game I really enjoy.
And the world's dumbest mechanic where your sword breaks mid-fight.
Yeah, that is a complaint. I understand why it is that way. The reason they have to do that is if you were to storm into the castle, if you were a really good player and you could actually survive with a tree branch and storm into the castle and pick up the biggest, heaviest weapon that you could find, And if that weapon didn't break, it would sort of break the game in a way. So you need to give players a reward for doing that. You have a really, really big weapon now, and you can kill things that you normally shouldn't be able to kill that early on. But at the same time, it can't break the game in such a way that now the entire game is just a steamroll and it's not enjoyable. So they take that weapon away from you after you use it so much.
Well, yeah. So
but yeah,
it's to gate people from running through the game.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
But it's just what I really like about that game. What it really does well, and what Genshin Impact does really, really well, is just going off and doing whatever you want, finding random rewards, finding like Korok seeds or treasure chests or whatever it is that you happen to find in the world is such a very unique experience. It's very rewarding.
I agree. No. I enjoyed Breath of the Wild. I guess for me, the hardest part, and I've bitched about this enough, and Nick can remember because there's many text messages that I sent him saying the same thing.
Yep.
Like they give you the 4 temples that you essentially have to go to.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I landed, let's say I went right, like northeast towards that one, and I landed in that like land, I'm doing the quotation marks, and I was just getting demolished because everything was way too strong for me. So then I would backtrack to that, like one of the temple towers, and I would go a different way, and it'd be the same thing. And it was almost like I wish that they gave you the order to do them, because like getting to them, for me, like I need a little bit of linear, like make it point me in the right direction. I don't do good in a complete open world because I just get lost and then I get frustrated. Where, some people thrive on that. They're like, well, I just wasted 4 hours of my time and I can't beat this area because everybody's too strong. I'll just erase that or just go back to another teleport point and then start over. And for me, I'm just like, okay, I just wasted 4 hours playing this. This is like,
well, every time you clear a temple, you get a new ability, right? And one of the best abilities is Rivali's Gale, which is in the temple that is the farthest away from you on the map, which means that psychologically it's going to be like the least, it's going to be the one that you do last for most people, just because you're gonna start from where you start and then slowly branch out. And it's kind of I don't know, it almost seems like a design flaw that you put like a super duper useful ability at the very, very end.
I feel like most games are like that though. Like in
well, that's a good, I guess, yeah.
They save like the really useful stuff for the end, then it forces you to kind of go back and do completionist things. I know what's the new Star Wars game?
Squadrons?
No, the other one. That you're
Fallen Order?
Fallen Order.
Yeah, sorry, Fallen Order. I had a brain fart there. But in Fallen Order you get, your force abilities that are most useful for exploring don't come until the end. And I grant that's like on purpose to make you go back and 100% the planets if you want to, but I feel like lots of games do things like that, like your end game abilities.
Well, look,
I guess
at
it's
Call
the same
of Duty.
thing as getting a really big weapon, right? Like if you get a really big weapon, steamroll your way through, then it's less fun. And I like how hard Breath of the Wild was. It really does force you to learn how to play the game and how to dodge things. Because once you get that down, it's very fun and rewarding.
I like how they don't tell you how to get past stuff. I think that's a Zelda trope. Not trope, but like theme all the time anyway. Like, I'll give you an example that for me, I actually did that, conquered that short champion or whatever you want to call it. What do they call it? Great Beast? I haven't played in quite a long time.
Oh, the Divine Beasts?
Yes, I conquered that Divine Beast third, and actually the lava one I still haven't done yet. Because I never figured out, took the time to figure out how to deal with all the heat over there.
Oh yeah, it doesn't tell you. You really do have to figure it out for yourself.
You just catch on fire and you're like, what the hell is going on here?
I was flying in there one day. I was like, oh, I can just fly in. No problem, right? And it gives you that warning. It's like, hey, you better turn back. Otherwise, you might start on fire. It's like, that's a really interesting proposal. Oh, shoot, I'm on fire. Like, you just die.
Well, and the same thing happens right in the beginning of the game where they tell you to go get something. It's a temple at the top of the mountain and you don't have warm clothes.
Oh,
right.
Yep.
And I was like, So I just ate a bunch of spicy apples or spicy something, and I was
Peppers?
like, "Oh, I'll be fine." Yeah, spicy peppers, and I'm like, "Okay, that's not working." So for me, I'm dumb. I'm dumb. I'm straight up dumb.
They give you
And
multiple ways to do it, though. There's
well, yeah, but
ways to get the clothing.
yeah,
There's
but
ways
they
to eat
don't
the
tell
food.
you that.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out 100% on your own. And for me, that is just, it's tough for me to do. Where, thank God there were guides and stuff, because I would get so frustrated because I would try it 3 times eating spicy peppers, and I'm like, okay, clearly I'm doing wrong. But little did you know, way down in the village 2 hours ago, you walked by a guy that has an outfit that you can get as long as you cook him some food. How the hell are you supposed to know that?
You got to explore more.
Explore.
Yeah.
And who reads the subtitles? Exactly. So, Nick, what's your favorite Zelda game?
Oh, well, I enjoyed Breath of the Wild because of a lot of the same mechanics that you were talking about, Muscle Man. The open worldness and things like that. I think that's going to be really cool going forward to keep that open worldness in Zelda games, because I feel like they're all sort of trying to do that. Like in my favorite game that I'm going to talk about, there's actually 2, but it's ends up being somewhat linear. So my 2 favorites are just because of they're the 2 I grew up with, but I really enjoyed Wind Waker and also Twilight Princess.
Yes.
Are my 2 favorites. Wind Waker.
I love them all, but yeah.
Wind Waker is the first one that I actually played 100% start to finish and beat by myself, because I was like old enough to do that. And then Twilight Princess obviously came out afterwards. But I just enjoyed like the drastic art style difference of Twilight Princess, and I don't know, the story's cool. Like the mechanics of going back and forth and turning into a wolf or not. And I think I actually 100% in Twilight Princess. I 100% in both of them actually. Now that I'm thinking of it, but I enjoyed both of those, and I think I haven't enjoyed Breath of the Wild because as much as those 2, not because it's a worse game, but just because I haven't had the time. I didn't have the time to like really sink into that, because I was, either in class or working a lot, or, the sort of time frame of not having as many real world things going on,
Mhm.
and I was trying to play other games at the same time too. So I think it just got caught up in the free time, lack of free time.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that game is very much, it's a hard game to go back to.
Yeah.
So if you stop playing it, because I tried to play it again, and I was like, okay, what buttons do what? And I'm getting attacked by enemies, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So if I did it again, I might actually start the game over and just do it again, because I feel like that would be the only shot that I have. And maybe other than Breath of the Wild, maybe it's a generational thing, because my favorite Zelda is not A Link to the Past. What was the Super Nintendo one? Yeah, Link to the Past.
The second one, I think.
Let's talk about the second NES one, which was
Super Nintendo. It was A Link to the Past.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's my favorite. But anyways, so what do you do the most in SWTOR?
I do a lot of raids.
And when you say a lot, so I use this analogy all the time at work. When somebody says, "Oh, I want you to do this job for us, but we're not in a rush," I laugh at it, because I'm like, okay, my not in a rush is probably 6 months from now I can do it. You're not in a rush. It's like, oh, you don't have to start it tomorrow, but I'll see you next week. So when you say you do a lot of raids, how many nights a week are you raiding, would you say?
So there was one point 2 months ago where I had enough raid teams that I was raiding every single day of the week.
Whoa.
Yep, literally every single day. They didn't last for a lot of time. I mean, raid teams fluctuate. I used to be, until recently, like a couple weeks ago, I was on 7 teams. And a single team could either raid twice a week for 2 hours or once a week for 2 or 3 hours. But I was on 7 different teams. But as of this recording, I'm only on 3. The reason for that is because roster prog is the real end game, and just many of my teams disbanded over that. But that being said, I have a pretty open schedule right now. So if any of our viewers out there are looking for one more person to fill a team, let me know. My favorite fights are joining teams for things like hard mode, Master Blaster, and Revan, or the Dread Ops in Nightmare mode?
Why don't you start a team?
That's a good question. I have. Well, actually, I don't think I've actually started a team. Maybe once. That didn't really last for that long. A lot of the teams that I end up raid leading is because the current raid leader stepped out and they needed someone to sort of step into that position. So my Wednesday team, which just recently disbanded, I was the raid leader had stepped out, and so I just kind of became the raid leader. The Saturday team that I currently lead, I've been leading that one for about a year, almost a year and a half now. But I started leading that one because, again, the previous raid leader stepped out. And the real reason I don't is just that roster prog. It's so difficult to get 8 different people to be prepared and show up and know what they're doing, and also show up at the right time.
See, and my reason is a lot different than that. It's really hard to find 8 people that get along. And then if somebody is out from that 8-person team that you really enjoy, and then you have to find a sub that fits the mold of the team.
Yep.
Because if you have somebody that is maybe a little arrogant or maybe a little loud or just, or just brutally honest, somebody on the team always has a problem with it. And and it makes it really hard for a raid lead.
Mm-hmm. It does, for sure.
No, for sure. So you should totally start a team because
the number one
tank right here checking in.
Oh, definitely. The number one feature that I would want out of SWTOR, the thing that I would want more than anything else, is a legacy friends list. The problem is when I log into the game, I don't know who's available. I don't know what people are doing. Everyone has so many different alternate characters. Everyone plays on different, guilds or different factions or even different servers. And it's so hard for me to, when I log in, to know who's online.
Yeah, and at the same time, that's where the Discords come in play. Mm-hmm. But there's so many of them.
There's so many of them, and someone will be like offline, but they're still available. They'll be like mark themselves offline or do not disturb, and it's like, well, are they available or not? You can always send out blind messages and just see if people are available, but it's just a lot of work to do that.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of channels to filter through.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think you should start a team. But what content do you usually raid?
I do a lot of nightmare content. When I first started, you got to start with story mode. You got to work your way up through the hard modes and then nightmare modes. I do a lot of nightmare modes lately. I'm not opposed to doing the easier content. In fact, I really do like doing story mode content for people that have never raided before, because that's their first experience. Like, I get to show them the magic that I first got when I did my first raid.
Dude, Nick can talk about this. Mm-hmm. That first time you see SOA in an Eternity Vault, and the floor disappears, and the new player goes smush on the ground, because they fell off the platform.
I.e. me falling off the platform.
Yeah, but Nick, never doing something like that. What was your mindset when you first walked into a room like that?
It's just like,
and you see everything going on.
I'm like, just try not to die. That was my only thought process. Was try not to make them res you more than like once or twice.
Sure.
It was like, avoid the red circle.
To stay alive. Yep.
Yeah.
And when you get somebody in Eternity Vault for the first time, and people are like, oh, I don't ever want to do that again. But when you do that, it brings back, and if you actually think about when you first started doing it, in your mind, how it was racing the first time you saw all this, you're like, oh my God, this is incredible. Still to this day, it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think you should start a team. Anyways, so how long have you been raiding for?
So I've been raiding since, a couple of years now. I joined a guild called Legion of Draconis, and one day they needed a person for the daily group finder op, Scum and Villainy. So my first op was Scum and Villainy, and that was on April 9th of 2018. I checked my achievements. And ever since that day, April 9th, 2018, I've been hooked. And, the thing that I like about it is just working as a team to accomplish a goal. And what we said earlier at the very beginning of this was that moment, that feeling of you've been progging something for so long and you progressed so much that you finally were able to complete that boss or that raid. You were able to finish it and you were able to down that boss. You were able to defeat Revan. That's such an incredible feeling.
I can't agree with you more. In learning it is probably in learning these things and progressing through the modes is such a cool feeling as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost like learning with the group of people. Because even if the thing is even if 7 people have done it, when you're in the harder modes, if one person hasn't done it, you're not going to just run through and clear the content. Everybody needs to know what the hell is going on.
Yeah, especially for the harder stuff, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of harder stuff, do you have any advice for people or raiders who want to get better at the game and maybe take on hard mode or nightmare mode one day?
That's a very good question. I actually have some really good advice for that, and I think that this is some advice that would be relevant to everyone, not just raiders.
Mm-hmm.
So for context, I'm in a nightmare raiding guild on SWTOR called Inconsistent. They have a Discord. There are many conversations about the game that take place there. And just yesterday, a player asked a question, and the question was something along the lines of, does anyone have any experience with the set bonus? And this led to a discussion where someone who goes by Jay the Returned had the following to say about the topic. I'm simply stating that the mindset is off and you're asking the wrong questions. If you ask the right questions, you can easily become a really good player at any game. The difference between a really good player and an average player is pretty much the following. Number 1, reading things. So tooltips, set bonuses, passives, abilities, pretty much anything relevant to your class or the encounter. Number 2, practice and time. Number 3, thinking about how you can adjust your rotation for a fight or do something differently. And number 4, don't just go through the motions. Constantly be analyze every GCD and pull, and try to perform better. I think that's great. That's what he said, and I think that if you follow those 4 steps, you will become a better raider.
So I do agree with him a lot, but it's also, as a new player, and I'll use myself, going from as a DPS to a tank for the first time when Onslaught came out and learning how to do it, it's overwhelming.
Oh, it is, for sure.
And the hardest part is if you're doing story mode tanking is much different than hard mode tanking.
Mm-hmm.
In hard mode tanking, the difference between hard mode tanking and nightmare isn't that great, but it's enough to where, there's a difference because now you have maybe all 4 DPS are hitting the boss really, really hard. So if your opening rotation isn't perfect, the boss is going to turn and hit the group, and that's could wipe the whole team.
Yeah.
So there's that. That is something that, it's hard when you're a new player to understand all this because I'm going to be honest, I don't understand everything from what each passive does and what each ability does to perfection. I can read it 100 times, but until I hit my endure pain at the right moment instead of the wrong moment, you don't understand actually what it does in my mind.
Yeah, and I think that kind of segues into another point that I really want to make, and that is learning how to ask the right questions in order to improve. Like, what is it that you're struggling on? What is it that you need to improve? And one of the things that I really want to highlight, and this is relevant to anyone, is that many of the skills that you learn in this game are skills that you can use in real life. How to work as a team and accomplish a goal, how to show up prepared, being on time, conflict resolution, handling frustration, etc. And learning how to ask the right questions to perform better is one of those skills. if you ask the right questions, you can easily become a really good player, both in game and in real life.
The one I heard is the frustration for
Mhm.
me, and I can only use myself as an example. It's sometimes hard when if there's 8 people on a team and 7 people have beat this fight and you're the one person that's holding the fight back, but you still have to learn the fight.
Mhm.
And you can hear the frustration in other players because you wiped for 2 hours on the same boss, and you know in your head it's not that hard, but you just don't quite understand it yet. Being that player that is the least knowledgeable on that fight is always tough, and I'm always that guy because I'm new to the harder content, and it is frustrating on my end to have to listen to the frustration of the team. And they've there's one team in mind I have, but they've never been rude to me about it at all, ever. But you can hear the disappointment, and I don't care who you are, it wears on you. And I will say it does drive you to be a better player,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
if you're, I'll even take it back to paintball. In the beginning, I felt like I was a liability, but by the time I finished playing, because I had kids, I felt like I was an asset to the team.
Yeah, if you can learn how to handle that frustration and how to push through it, like there's things in this game that they're going to frustrate you, they're going to drain you, but if you learn how to handle it and learn how to push past it and focus when you need to focus and that sort of thing, I mean it can really go a long way.
I agree. What do you think, Nick?
I agree as well. 100%.
Well, thanks, Muscle.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank
been
you
a
for having me.
Long time coming. So if you guys, we got a free agent over here.
Oh yeah. Let me
He's
know.
He's
Coming in my
one of-
stream.
yes, go to his stream, get him.
Go claim them on waivers.
Yeah, go claim him on waivers because he's one of my favorite people in the whole world to raid with. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I love raiding with you as well, so looking forward to more opportunities in the future.
What are you guys talking about in here?
Find out next episode of Working Class Nerds.